I know with all the misinformation out there, it is really difficult to decide to get vaccinated or not, but I can assure you from this experience that it's a much more difficult decision in your 20s and 30s to decide how you want to bury your spouse. My name is Chasity Reeves, and I am 26 years old, and I live in a rural town in northwest Arkansas. My husband Caleb is 29, and he is a big teddy bear. He's a big, lovey guy. He never ends a phone call without saying I love you.
I'm Curtis Reeves. I am Caleb Reeves' older brother. He was a great guy. He'd help anybody. It didn't matter who it was or where you were. He'd help anybody.
He was just a light. Whenever he walked into a room, he lit up the room. He had a huge smile and an infectious laugh. When Caleb became ill on July 1st, he had very mild symptoms. He had just a minor temperature. He had a headache. A few days later, he actually passed out, and so we made a trip to the hospital just to have him checked out. It turned out he was just dehydrated, but that was the day that he actually tested positive for COVID. He progressively got worse over the course of about a week, to the point that we had to return to the hospital about a week later.
When I heard he was positive with COVID, I thought to myself he'd be okay because of his age. I knew he wasn't vaccinated, but I thought down in my heart that he'd be okay. When he was over there in the hospital by himself for those 4 or 5 days, he would FaceTime us, and you could see the sheer terror and panic in his eyes.
He spent 30 days in the hospital. He spent 25 of those days on a ventilator, completely unconscious. So only the first few days were we able to communicate with him and talk to him over the phone and things like that. So the day Caleb was placed on the ventilator, the doctor called and allowed me the opportunity to come see him in person before they sedated him and inserted the ventilator. So I talked to him for about 15 minutes. I held his hand and we prayed together.
First day I went in, it was really hard. I couldn't talk to him. I've never seen anything like that. I hope I and no one else ever sees that again. It's
an extremely overwhelming experience to walk into a room with your very young, healthy husband and see him hooked up to dozens of machines and IVs. He literally was alive because of modern medicine keeping him alive, and these machines breathing for him and helping his body.
I do think the rural communities don't get the vaccine as much because, you know, we're out on the farm. We think we don't go anywhere. But when you go to the gas station to get fuel, or you go to Walmart and you pass by somebody, or go to church and you sit in one pew over, there's a chance to be exposed to it.
Throughout the course of the virus, we had several conversations about the fact that we're thankful that the vaccine's available, but that we felt like we were way too young and way too healthy to need to worry about getting it.
I want people to slow down and think. This is not a political discussion, this is a healthcare discussion. Turn off social media, turn off the news, talk to your doctor, ask the doctors and nurses that are in the hospital day in and day out dealing with this.
This is his favorite place on earth. We spent a lot of time here. We had his service here on mine and Caleb's farm in rural northwest Arkansas after he passed. Know that the virus doesn't just affect older people or people with pre-existing conditions. Caleb was extremely healthy, young, and we had no reason to believe that the virus would affect him the way that it did. Just do whatever you can to protect yourself and avoid the situation that we've had to go through.